In my review from Publishers Weekly for my nonfiction book, Overcoming Father Wounds, that was one of the comments that I received. In fact, the comment that stood out was Stephen's stories captivate. That was my use of showing, not telling. Embedded in a book with quotes, facts, statistics, and biblical truths, I infuse the art of storytelling. Hey sis, welcome to the Entrusted Women Podcast, a one-point podcast created to equip Christian women communicators of color. Every episode focuses on a single point to equip you in one of four areas: purpose, writing, speaking, and business. Along the way, I will share stories, lessons, tips, mistakes, and real-time experiences I am learning on my own journey as a Christian woman communicator of color. Now, let's dive into episode 19. Today's point is transmit experiences to the reader rather than just information. Shifting in her seat at a reading table in the glittery Warren branch of the Denver Public Library, Detective Anna Lee Spain pretended not to watch the couple's strained early evening standoff. On its face, it looked trivial. Tensions oddly often are, but this couple's strain felt somehow ominous. Anna Lee couldn't put her finger on it. She also couldn't look away, ignoring therefore every warning bell clanging like crazy inside her curly-haired head. This is an excerpt from Double the Lies by one of my favorite authors, Patricia Raybon. Now, Raybon could have come out and said the couple in this particular passage was having a disagreement. But instead, she chose to use descriptive words to help the reader deduct and infer and assume what was taking place in the story. She opted to show the reader what was happening instead of telling the reader what was happening outright. As a writer, you may have heard show versus tell a lot and not really know what is meant by it. For some, show versus tell is a narrative technique. And for others, it is the golden rule. You do not break of writing that helps the reader experience the story through actions, words, and subtext, thoughts, senses, and feelings, rather than through the author's exposition, summarization, and description. Telling versus showing is when the writer simply informs the reader of information. For example, the girl is young, pretty, wearing glasses. She has braids in her hair. Showing versus telling is when the writer paints a picture that the reader can see in their minds versus just telling them. For example, her innocent eyes sparkled with delight. Her hair was like intricately woven pieces of yarn gathered on top of her head. Which did you enjoy more or find more entertaining? I'm imagining that if you want to be entertained, you chose showing versus telling. Showing is far more interesting and it adds layers and color to your writing and not just fiction writing. Writers should show versus tell in nonfiction text as well. In my review from Publishers Weekly for my nonfiction book, Overcoming Father Wounds, that was one of the comments that I received. In fact, the comment that stood out was Stephen's stories captivate. That was my use of showing, not telling. Embedded in a book with quotes, facts, statistics, and biblical truths, I infused the art of storytelling, so that I could show versus solely telling. Showing versus telling will help the reader retain the information far better than if we simply give them facts and quotes to remember. To avoid telling, we need to practice incorporating dialogue, appealing to the reader's senses, using strong verbs and figurative language. If we are used to telling instead of showing, this may take some time to adjust to. We may need to take a class, ask someone to critique our writing, and read lots of books. Go back and listen to episode 14, Writers or Readers. Don't be discouraged by the amount of time it will take to become a writer who does an exceptional job painting a picture for the reader by showing instead of telling. Just keep developing your craft. Hey sis, if you are a communicator, writing or speaking, and you desire to be effective, you may feel like this is a daunting task. It is, sis. It's daunting. This is why I created a 7-question quiz to help you figure out where you need to start. I want you to take my Effective Communicator quiz to gain clarity on your communicator journey. Simply click the link in the description section right down there of this video or of the podcast. Additionally, if you are interested in connecting with other writers and speakers, I want to encourage you to join our free community of entrusted women that are focused on determining the message we have been entrusted with and the intentional purpose God created us for. Join me next week as we talk about how to increase your visibility as a speaker.